morning, Annette. Happy Monday.
Good morning, Lynn. How are you today?
I am really well. Over the weekend, we were asked to come up with a price for a potential new listing we're working on. And I realized that we really haven't discussed with our audience how we do that, how it happens. Especially with this particular property, it's not easy because it's unique. So why don't you teach us how we go about finding an evaluation?
Well, first of all, it's using a lot of data and a little bit of magic. And I say that because we do a good job on valuations. I will say that. I'm going to pat us both on the back with that. And yet, we cannot always predict what's going to happen in the marketplace, because the only time we actually know what a home is worth is when we're sitting at the closing table and we find what a ready, willing, and able buyer will pay a ready, willing, and able seller in an arm's length transaction, meaning they're not related, they don't know each other, and this is just two
Exactly.
strangers deciding on what something is worth.
Well, this morning you sound just like the appraiser I know you are.
I was. I'm not anymore.
Not anymore. So appraisers use data and look backwards to come up with an evaluation. As realtors, we don't quite do that, do we?
Well, it depends on the market. Right now, it's been really challenging with a lack of inventory. But there are four factors that determine value. The first one, the most important one, is location.
Correct.
The same home in Cambridge is going to cost a lot more than the same home in Springfield. It's that
Well,
simple.
take it a step further. The same home in Harvard Square is going to cost a lot more than it is in Alewife.
Or in Cambridgeport.
Exactly.
And I know if I move my house about 3 miles south, I can get another 100 grand for it.
There you go.
Again, even within a city or a town, the communities have different values.
Yes.
And we can see that. So location is the primary driver. The second one is size. A 3,000 square foot home is going to be worth more than a 1,200 square foot home. Common sense.
Correct. That one's easy.
Yep. The third is amenities. And what do I mean by that? Do you have a screen porch? Do you have central air conditioning? Do you have an in-ground pool in the backyard? And that one's kind of funny because some people think it adds value, others think it takes it away. So we're going
So it depends on how much you love the outdoors.
Yeah.
And
it has to do with how up to date are your appliances, and a lot to do with fashion trends. If you are showing aqua and pink, we know you are 30 years out of date. And if you're showing black and pink tile, we know you're 70 years out of date. And while some people like retro, amenities count a lot. The fourth factor is condition. And this is the one factor that homeowners have more complete control over. What is the condition of your home? Does it need painting? And I'm going to go back not to the tile so much, but the color scheme. Should you repaint the walls? Is your furniture, do you have an avocado green refrigerator? And so,
is your countertop Formica in your kitchen?
Yeah.
Things that can be upgraded to enhance your value.
And really, it's as simple as that. So when we start looking to determine the value of a home, the first thing I do is to get on MLS, which has the vast majority of homes that have information about the vast majority of homes that have sold recently.
Right.
And I say, hey, over the last 6 months, what has sold that's about the same size as my house, that's close to my house. Now, appraisers will use a quarter mile in a city, half mile in a suburb, and a mile or so if you're more rural, homes within that radius. And they plug in plus or minus 15% of your square footage. So we have location either by zip code or within a radius around your home. We have size plus or minus 15%. And we look back in time because as we know, homes are valued differently over time. In general, they increase in value. So if we go back 2 years, those values may not be valid today because home prices have gone up. And then we take a look at what pops up on the screen. The other thing I do, especially if there are a lot of them, is that I'll ask the multiple listing service to give me a map.
Right.
And I'll take a
See how
look
close they are.
how close they are. Once I have that, I drill down on the particular listing itself. And I take a look. Has it got a 2-car garage, a 1-car garage, or no garage? Because I don't usually search on garage. And that will add or take away value. If I have a 2-car garage and it has no garage, I figure my house is worth at least $5,000 more. Okay.
And perhaps more, because a house with a 2-car garage in the middle of Boston, where parking is a challenge, adds a tremendous value, whereas on a big lot in Newton, it may not.
Not as much. And some of that is learned over time.
Right.
Again, homes with fireplaces are worth a little bit more than homes without. Homes with an additional bath or 2 baths or a half bath, depending on where they are, may be worth more. So we take a look at that, and then we find the homes that are closest to the one that we're trying to evaluate. And it's interesting. Usually the numbers are pretty close.
But here's where the magic comes in.
Absolutely. So if it says that the 3 homes are sold for $890, $850, and $840, I'm pretty confident it's somewhere between $840 and $890 if I put it on the market today. And at that point, we have a discussion with our seller. And we show them the comps. And we show them how we got there. And say, this is what I'm seeing, and it's somewhere between this number and this number. How much do you want to list your home for?
Truly, it's as simple as that. But I want to talk about the magic.
Yes.
Because one of the things that I think I'm most proud of is that you and I have had a remarkable amount of success nailing pricing. We don't have
it's experience.
But there's also, I mean, when I think about what's the magic is how much competition do we have? Can we get away with a little more if there's nothing on the market? If there's a ton of competition, maybe not so much. The magic is that gut that you develop when you've been at this as long as we have.
Well, what's interesting is we tend to price at market value or a little bit less.
Right.
Because the kiss of death for listings is to be on the market for many more days on market than your competition is. Because the question arises, what's wrong with this house? Why is it still?
Well, you sell your competition then. They say, if you love this one at 900, boy, you're going to love this one at 860.
Absolutely.
And we move competition if we're overpriced.
And yet there have been times when I've been very surprised that things didn't move as quickly as I should, or they moved even more quickly and a lot higher. Do you remember that house we sold on the pond?
Of course. Boy.
And it was listed for what, $650?
It was listed for $650. And there were what, 17 offers? Who knew?
But here's the thing, Lynn. When I went back and tried to recreate the pricing, I had a really challenging time. It was a very unique property. It literally was 20 feet from a pond, which is very desirable.
Right.
And the agent who had listed it, we represented the buyers. The agent who had listed it is one of the most experienced agents I know and does a good job.
Exactly.
And so this was one that kind of got out of control. What did it finally sell for?
Our clients got it for $780,000, $130,000 over the original ask price.
Not only that, about 25%, from a percentage perspective, it was way out there.
Crazy. And crazy. And frankly, that's a real challenge to the listing agent and to the seller.
Yeah.
It's hard on them.
And again, I don't think he underpriced it on purpose,
Mhm.
as some agents do. And just an illustration that these unicorns sometimes happen, that's all.
So one last thing before I let you go. We tend to price at what we consider to be market value.
Or a little bit,
Because we
$2,000
believe-
less. Yeah.
Right, because we believe that that's in the best interest of our seller.
Mhm.
And here's why. Our market is ever changing. I like to say, and I guess this dates me, that every day you could take a Polaroid snapshot of where the market is at any given moment. And currently, we're in a little bit of flux, still terribly low on inventory, and yet interest rates are up about 0.5% in the last month alone. And this could, in fact, dampen some enthusiasm. So the danger of overpricing a house is profound and doesn't serve our client well at all.
And the bottom line is, we know what the value is when we're sitting at the closing table.
Yes, that is true. Hope this helps everybody.
I'm sure it will.
Good.
See you next week, same time, same station.
Bye-bye.